we should not give up hope, because as historical record shows, Shahnameh Ferdowsi, he says that the Baluch, of course, fought armies of Sassanid and before them. And Ferdowsi said that all the Iranian kings and their Sassanid, they didn't know what to do with the Baluch, because they could not defeat them until it came to Anushiravan. And of course, he said that he massacred them and no child and woman was left. Of course, the poet exaggerated because we are still here and we are still fighting. So one day, we will definitely win. And then, but the Baluch have never accepted nor recognized the Goldsmith line dividing the Baluch between Iran and Pakistan, nor the Durand line separating northern Balochistan. They have struggled, as you know, as you mentioned, from the beginning, 1958, 48, 60, 70s, and of course the current struggle, which is of course, and of course I'm absolutely positive that the Baluch national struggle is certain to intensify. Why? Because it is gaining momentum internally and internationally. Since the current insurgency erupted, the movement is spreading fast and wide inside Balochistan. It has evolved into a mass movement encompassing all strata and classes of Baluch society, as shown by the growing number of Baluch women and youth joining the struggle. Baluch, we are a very traditional society. Our women has been always protected, but when our women see that their husband, their children, their fathers are being killed and dumped, so they have been forced into struggle. And of course, you know that the rank of Baluch Sarmachars are swelling by day. This is as represented by Balochistan government's lawyer before the Supreme Court in Islamabad on July 16 this month. This is called the provincial government was not in a position. This is the new government in Balochistan. So the lawyer telling the Supreme Court, the provincial government was not in a position to play a proactive role in the absence of a special force against the 48 Ferrari camps, Ferraris, the camps situated in the border areas where some 5,000 to 8,000 members of Baluch Liberation Army were active. So this is the government itself acknowledging. And of course, I assure you that the ranks will grow faster and faster and faster, because that is the demand of the time. And you know that the flag of Pakistan is being replaced by a flag of Balochistan in all schools and towns. And as you saw, the turnout in recent parliamentary election was very low or negligible in some Baluchi parts of Pakistan, and you have documented better data. And you know that also, so this is internally, the movement is gaining, but externally also, because of the tremendous sacrifices made by the Baluch inside Balochistan and the relentless campaign of Baluch activists like yourself in diaspora, the Baluch quest for self-determination has been widely publicized internationally. And the great powers are certain to take notice of developments in Balochistan. The international media has seen a much wider coverage of events in Balochistan than before, relatively speaking, compared to 10 years ago. The human rights violations in Balochistan are documented and reported more frequently by international human rights than before. The plight of Baluch and Balochistan is receiving greater exposure in international arena and the halls of Western governments. They have been meeting with the Americans, with British, with Norwegian parliaments. They are listening, at least, giving us a listening chance. And of course, the prime example was the Balochistan hearings held by the United States Congress in February 2012. So this was a historical achievement for the Baluch movement, because it gave Baluch national movement international exposure, because the Congress is an elected body It is elected body of the greatest, the only superpower in the world. When they come and hold a hearing on that, and by the way, they have never hold a hearing on Kurdistan or other areas, which are, they have much more money than us, but really Balochistan. So, and of course we go into that, and of course, you know, we have to acknowledge that Khan Sahib played a very important role in that. And of course, if one person can do that, think if all Baloch leadership get together, BSYA, Rahundak Sahib, others, join forces, they will be a force. But, and I think it is our duty to push them and force them, the leadership, because that is the demand of the people, unity. Yeah, if they don't, and of course, a brief reference to the prospect of statehood, opportunities and challenges. I have time, I hope. Yeah. Let's go first to the opportunities. I think the prospect for independence have never been brighter than today, and statehood may well be on its way. But to establish a free and an independent Balochistan, the Baloch national movement has to win the war at home and has to secure international recognition. These two. The real war, however, if we win this war, we will have victory in both fronts. The real war, however, is the one waged for the hearts and minds of the Baloch people, Baloch nation. Winning this war will guarantee victory on both fronts, internationally and domestically. At the same time, one or two tactical victory in the battlefield may help, but will not be decisive. Similarly, one or more tactical defeat or retreat does not end the Baloch quest for self-determination. The Baloch national movement, in my opinion, possesses the requisite ideological foundation, organizational base, and popular support to succeed. Ideologically, its message has been crystallized into a clear demand for self-determination. A popular message resonating among the Baloch masses and firmly established under international law. Organizationally, the movement has manifested itself into well-established and deep-rooted national parties and organizations in Eastern Balochistan, as you know. They are well-known and numerous. Some of them are represented in this conference. The movement also enjoys broad popular support among all classes and strata of Baloch societies throughout Balochistan. So the opportunities, the biggest opportunity, I believe, is the momentum gained internally and internationally. As is the case with the whole national movement, the Baloch nationalists have to rely on their strengths and capitalize on opportunities, whether real or perceived, tangible or intangible, in their path at any given time, but also have to be able to overcome the formidable hurdles and challenges they inevitably face. At this juncture of Baloch struggle, there are several major factors that are strengthening and accelerating our Baloch quest for self-determination. First, there is a firm conviction among the Baloch nationalists that their cause is just and that the Baloch nation has every right under international law and the UN Charter to seek and exercise its right to self-determination and to rid itself of foreign domination, exploitation, and tyranny. It is fueled by Baloch grievances and injustices mentioned earlier. The second major factor is the momentum gained by Baloch internally and internationally. And of course, not only that, but their belief that this momentum is unstoppable and statehood is inevitable. This is reflected in the growing popularity and the widening base of Baloch national movement and thought and approach. I just want to read one paragraph from one young Baloch lady writing to her father, an email. And what this young lady, Baluch lady, said, she told her father, it is a very exciting and crucial time in the Baluch struggle as we have gained unstoppable momentum. There is no doubt that history is on our side, and a newly formed independent Baluch Republic is in making as I write these very words. This is in the quote of a feeling of a young Baluch woman. And third, in spite of the Pakistan Army's overwhelming military force and well-disciplined army, Baluch insurgents have held their ground. So that is also another, yeah. And of course, the other factor that the Baluch gaining strength is the brutality with which Pakistani army has conducted itself. And this brutality, of course, create a fertile ground for the Baluch Sarmachars and insurgents to operate, because people will join them. And of course, you know that national growing sense of nationhood, national awakening, you are all aware and we are all here because we are a manifestation of that awakening. And more importantly and crucially, the other factor is the geostrategic location of Balochistan, importance of Balochistan, which of course, and I believe that Balochistan today is the most strategic piece of land on earth today. For the just a few more minutes, but we will go into that if I have few more minutes. But we have really three major hurdles to overcome. The first and foremost is the lack of unity among nationalist parties and organizations. And you know, a highly fractured movement is also highly vulnerable and become a much easier target to suppress. The governments of Pakistan and Iran have employed the policy of divide and rule very effectively to suppress, to plant the seeds of discord and to create friction among various Baluch factions, political parties, tribes, and leading personalities. Their preferred method of the governments, the two governments, is to divide the Baluch nationalists, co-opt those vulnerable, and eliminate those committed to the cause of statehood, as you saw in the case of Wajah Ghulam Ahmad and all these Baluch people, to eliminate those committed to the cause of statehood, as shown by extrajudicial killing. The second major hurdle is, of course, is that we are dealing with two very undemocratic repressive governments in Pakistan and in Iran. I wish we had, maybe someday there will be democracy and they will respect our wish for self-determination, but we are still far from that.